Dale, what's up, my friend?
How are you, sir?
I'm great. So I'm with my friend Dale. My name's Dan. I'm from Michigan, and you're also from Michigan originally, aren't you?
I am. I'm from the Kalamazoo Battle Creek area originally.
Awesome, awesome. So congrats on hitting over six figures with Legacy Builders.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been an amazing year.
What were you doing before this, and what made you want to get started?
That's a great question. My background is 25 years in the network marketing world, and I've been blessed to be to the top of four different companies over my career. But what I saw was I would build it, something would happen, company would change comp plan. I'm not saying the companies always did everything wrong, but they changed stuff more than I did wrong. How's that?
Hmm.
And I had gotten to a place around COVID where I really was kind of burned out and I didn't there was nothing in the network marketing world that had my attention at all. So I did something I hadn't done in 25 years, Dan, and I went and got a job. And yeah, I was selling wine here in Texas and was doing very well. I was making six figures. And I about a year ago, right now, I saw a buddy of mine posting about. I think you just interviewed him here a couple of days ago. And so I'm posting about this $900 a day daily pay, 2 hour work days, and I'm like, all right, what the heck are you doing? And so I watched for a couple of weeks while Matthew made about $18,000, and I'm like, okay. So literally launched out of the gate roughly a year ago today. Um, Took me 4 days to make my first sale, and truly on my way to multiple six figures. If all goes well, multiple six figures in my first year. So it's been amazing what's happened.
Okay, that's awesome. So you're talking about like network marketing. You're not really in control, it seems like, when you're doing.
I mean, it's very true. I mean, we always talked about, it's your business, but it's not because the company can change the comp plan, the company can change the product, the company can make a decision, like's happening all over the country right now with companies that are, going affiliate and killing the downline and killing the network marketing side just so they can move their product. That's what happens when you have an overpriced product.
And they're going out of business. I've noticed in the past month, a couple of companies, big
Oh, a
companies.
couple of big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were some of the biggest struggles you had when you were first getting started?
Well, that's funny because I'm 53 years old,
Hmm.
Danny, and you know me well enough to know that tech is not my jam. I am not the techie guy in any way whatsoever. I've gotten better over the last year, but I didn't know how to edit a reel. I didn't know how to. I thought TikTok was a dance platform. I literally, dude, I was like, I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't have any of this stuff, and it just got to the place where I literally just had to dive in and do it messy. And in all honesty, it was, hang on, let me shut this door real quick. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I had to do it messy. I had to do it afraid. I had to step out. I wasn't that social media guy with the giant following and, knew how to make videos all pretty and, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, first of all, this ain't pretty. And I didn't know how to do the flashy stuff. And so that was probably the hardest thing for me was just getting over the fact that most people aren't techie. Most people don't know how to make pretty videos. Most people are in the same boat I was. I mean, I was 50 something years old. I looked up and realized I didn't have a retirement. I didn't have, my fiance and I want to retire. We want to be able to travel the country and we want to stay in the house, and if things don't change, we're going to be working until we're, old enough to be Walmart greeters, and that wasn't our goal.
So
So something had to change.
even though you've had success, you've made multiple six figures in different businesses. Even you had a little bit of fear going into this, though.
Because it was different. I was used to just recruiting people and building teams. And I'd actually made 8 figures in my career in network marketing. And I had some things happen. Went through divorce and things like that. And I was at a place where everything I owned was gone. I mean, so it was totally restarting and rebuilding and putting things all together and beginning to catch up on the promises that I made in my life and that I was behind on.
Okay. So, was there a key moment or shift that helped things really start to take off for you?
Yeah. So that's easy. So I made my first post May 12th of last year. And I was terrified. And I started getting some response of people that were open for information. So, I was, introducing my website to them and let the automations begin to do the work. And day 4, I'll remember it. I had just finished lunch. Jeannie had just gone back into her office. We both worked at that time. I was at the winery yet, driving an hour and a half to work every day, and I was off that day. And all of a sudden, I looked down at my phone, and there was a notification from Stripe for that I had just made a $900 sale, and I was like, "What is this?" And I walked into her office, and I said, "Babe, look." She goes, "What am I looking at?" I said, "I just made $900." And she's like, "Get out of here." And so we're doing the happy dance and all the things. And 3 hours later, I look down at my phone and there's another one. I'm
Same
like,
day? The same day, two
what?
sales.
2 sales, same day. Next day, I get up, I wake up in the morning, I look at my phone, there's a $900 sale that happened at 3:30 in the morning. And about 4 o'clock that afternoon, bam, there's a $600. And I'm like, okay, this dog will hunt. And so it got real loud on social media then because I wasn't scared anymore.
Hmm. That's awesome. I love how all the like, yeah, we earn passive income here. We have the
Yeah.
passive income freedom machine. So basically all our money comes in passively.
Those first 4 sales, Dan, I mean, I knew who they were because they actually were from my social media, but I didn't talk to them. I didn't have to get on the phone and do a 3-way call or explain everything to them. They literally dropped in their information, began to study the emails and the links that came out with the emails, and they made a decision and said, "Let's go."
They just made a decision themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I don't talk to people too when I make sales. I never meet these people. Once in a while, someone will email me if they have a question, and then they'll get started. But usually, I don't talk to anybody.
I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, there are times because just my background, there's times people reach out and I know that that's not we want to do as much, non, passively as possible. But at the same time, sometimes people just they need to know it's okay,
Hmm.
and having that conversation. You know, I personally realize that if somebody emails me and starts asking questions or they say, "Hey, can we talk?" I mean, that's probably going to be a sale, you
Yeah.
know?
So sometimes you might jump on a call with them.
Absolutely. I have no issues with, jumping on a call with somebody or, responding to an email or a text or whatever the case might be.
Yeah. Like I generally don't jump on calls like once in a blue moon because I'm a little more introverted and I'll respond to emails and stuff, but like you're kind of an extroverted guy, so people who are extroverted, they don't mind jumping on calls, but it's not
No,
necessary.
I'm definitely the extrovert talking on this 7-figure monk podcast right now. So, I just wanted to, first of all, Dan, let me just say thank you for having me on here today. And you and I were friends on social media long before we ever met in person.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate what you do and your message and what you're doing with these interviews. I think it's fabulous, and I wish you nothing but great success.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So, how was the support from the community and how has the support from the community and the live mentorship helped you along the way?
So that's cool because you see, I've been to the top of network marketing companies. I've written comp plans for companies. I've been in boardrooms with CEOs and corporate staff, and talked about direction and things like that. But I've been in giant Facebook groups, with massive leaders in the network marketing world, and never in my career have I ever found a place where the number one earner, the founder, the creator, is literally posting content and training every single day in our community of over 52,000 people, and where you can jump in there and ask a question and get the answer 17 different ways from Tuesday from 87 different people, and be able to just have that support, that's what, whether you're a trained, digital marketer, online marketer, salesperson, to have, or somebody who's literally an 84-year-old guy who's like, I just need to make some extra money for retirement, or gal. It doesn't matter. It's all there for you to learn how to do this, which is awesome.
Yeah, and the live calls, like I've been in different like money making opportunities, and I've never had this like live interactive mentoring
Right.
2 to 3 times a week where you can actually talk to 6 and 7 figure incrementers on a Zoom call, and they'll answer your questions directly to you. It's just like, wow,
Right.
never seen it. I've just never seen it
Yeah.
personally.
No. It's insane.
So, what's your day to day like now with this business? Like, we have a 2 hour workday. Like, how does that work out for you?
So my 2 hour workday right now, when it comes to, I got a lot going on. I'm launching my coaching business, and my community, and things like that. So I mean, there's definitely a little more than the average human would do in this business right now. But when I started, I was driving an hour and a half to work every day, both ways. I was I was working 45, 50 hours a week. Then it was always that 11 to 6 shift, so you don't have any time in the morning. You really don't have any time at night by the time you get there and get home. But I turned my car into a classroom. I know that's so cliche, but literally I listened to the trainings while I was going to work. I didn't watch the videos. I just listened to the trainings on my car. I would spend about 30 minutes to an hour on doing that. Throughout the course of the day, I would post 3 pieces of content talking about what we were doing, and then I would spend about 30 minutes doing the free copy and paste classified ads. So it was, I was able to break it down into 2 hours pretty easy, without having a lot of stress wrapped around it. And I mean, that paid me 6 figures, Dan, just and got me out of the job just doing that. I mean, if somebody could figure that part out and just be teachable enough to post 3 pieces of content, on a couple of different social media platforms, do the copy and paste ads and learn the training and follow the play. I've yet to see somebody who does all that and doesn't make money.
Hmm. And how has your mindset changed since the beginning?
I think for me, it's gone from I don't need to be. It's gone from I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know what, like we talked about earlier. I don't know the techie side. To I don't need to know the techie side. I can literally do it messy, and it's okay. I mean, yes, my content's gotten better. My videos are cleaner, but that's just practice and time. And but it doesn't need to be, Mr. Beast style to be profitable and productive.
Hmm. And what advice would you give someone who's just starting with this, or maybe who feels stuck right now?
All right. So this is what I tell. I just got off a coaching call with one of my newest guys this morning.
Hmm.
And I said, one of the things that I think is hugely important is to understand you can't control results. He's a tennis coach. And I said, you can't teach your students. You can't teach your students how to win every match. All you can do is teach them to have the skills and to take the activities that they need to win every match. Now, he goes, oh yeah, there'll be times I could have a great student, but they're going to come across a better player. I said that absolutely happens. But if they are primed and they're taught correctly and they're just focused on doing the activities, sometimes that is more important than the amount of skill level that somebody has. So, realizing that you can't control results, you can only control activities. Your job's to shoot content and drive people into your email list. And if you get good at that, you cannot help but make sales. If you're struggling and frustrated, it's probably because you're not doing the things that Michelle talks about in the blueprint. So it's okay, then dive back in there and put yourself through the first half of the training again and start over. Start today's day one. Start over. If you're frustrated, start over. If you're not frustrated and you're jacked up, keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. And now that you've made over six figures, what's your next big goal with this business?
Make $1 million. The goal is still to finish off this 2025 at $1 million, and a lot of things coming together for that, and it's just I want to be able to help 100 people make six figures this year.
Hmm.
And if I can do that, then that leads me to be able to help a whole bunch of people next year and be able to create a movement that changes lives around the world. Because this is a global business. If you got a credit card or PayPal, you can do this business from anywhere.
I love that. And if someone's watching this and thinking about joining but still unsure, what would you say to them?
What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? We don't do refunds or money back guarantees or anything like that. But if you are coachable, if you have the open mindedness to learn, if you are willing to do the 2 hours a day, and if you have a desire, I mean, if everything is hunky and dory in your life, you're probably not hanging out with me and Dan. You're out doing something with hunky and dory. But if things are, if you've got a goal, you're like, you know what, I'm 50 something years old and I don't have enough money for retirement, or I want to bring mama home, or I want to be able to have, I want to be able to, you're a mom and you want to stay home with the kids, that's doable. So if you've got that teachability and you're willing to do the work and you've got a strong why to do this business, then let's go. Let's go.